Hello, good evening and welcome to Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. This bulletin is live from our studio here at Adesawe, Kanda in Accra, and also live around the world on 3news.com. Coming up this evening, more emerging on the extortion claims against the minority leader. A special prosecutor discloses yet another petition against the member of parliament for a Futu constituency.
We are looking at bringing all the independent-minded people also on board to, as it were, get the details of the activities and operations of the GoldBod and Bank of Ghana in whatever transactions they do, and in reference to gold business.
We would interrogate these concerns being raised against the minority leader in a moment. And later in the bulletin and also tonight, are these mere red herrings to throw the guard dogs off the trail, or there are merits in them worth investigating? Later in the bulletin, Parliament reconvenes today under a certificate of emergency or a certificate of urgency, but to a questionably late start. We enter the chambers live to see how business has been ongoing in the last few hours. And finally, prospective NPP national executives begin filing nominations in what is fast becoming a crucial election for the largest opposition party in the country. You can be part of the show. Do let us know what your thoughts are on the many stories we have for you this evening on our website where this bulletin is streaming. We are also on Facebook and on Twitter and YouTube. Send us your thoughts and comments and we'll be happy to share it with the rest of the world. Details of all these stories in a second. My name is Martin Esiedudati. Let's settle for the details of our stories now. And in a moment, we'll go to Parliament where we are told that the House is back, like we indicated. Top of the issues that are expected to dominate conversations in Parliament include the vetting of ministerial appointments and the Supreme Court nominees announced recently. But what makes this more intriguing is the return of members of Parliament. It does coincide with the recurrent national discourse around the domestic gold purchase program. The minority leader, or even the entirety of the minority, engaged the media where they made some allegations and accusations about the losses that GoldBod had incurred. And on the back of that, there have been responses by the GoldBod CEO Sammy Gyamfi. And in part of the response, Sammy Gyamfi also raised some allegations against the minority leader, which has caused quite the storm because those allegations have been captured in a petition and sent to the Special Prosecutor, who has also released a statement saying that they are interrogating these petitions against the minority leader and will look at the entirety of the allegations of corruption-related issues leveled against the minority leader and would be investigating. But we also would be getting in detail what the real issues are over the last few days. But let's now speak to our parliamentary correspondent, Christian Yali, who's been monitoring activities in the chamber for us. Christian, thank you for joining us. We know that Parliament has reconvened a certificate of urgency. What has been ongoing in the House? When did sitting start and what's going on at the moment?
Martin, sitting is yet to begin formally because then you have a number of MPs from both sides who are currently in the chamber, but it has delayed for about 5 hours because the time advertised by the Speaker in his communique was 12 p.m. It is still not clear what exactly might be causing the delay to start of proceedings, but as it were, there is a leadership change, and as it were, you would have to get the business committee meet to schedule business for today. And then, because it is the first day of the week, you would expect them to also read how the business of the House would be for the ensuing day. So the assumption or the presupposition is that is what probably is causing the delay. But I've seen leaders of both sides, especially the chief whips around, saying the for want of better expression, the outgoing majority leader himself in the chamber, exchanging pleasantries and having some chat with members from both sides of the House. There is minority leader himself also, who has, as it stands right now, there is a bell just ringing to signal or to invite members of parliament, especially those who may be in their offices, to come to the chamber for proceedings to begin. So it is expected that in any moment from now, the House would be called to session, and then would get to know exactly what should be the agenda for today, as well as what is expected for the rest of the week, Martin.
Okay, so have you been able to glean from your interactions with some of the members of parliament why they feel that they've been recalled, or that is yet to be determined?
Yes, Martin, the recall or the emergency meeting came after the ministerial nominations by the president, which has left more or less a vacuum in the majority leadership, because the majority leader then, Mahama Yarika, designated for the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. And so one thing that is expected today or tomorrow would be an official communication from the National Democratic Congress, the NDC party, to Parliament to formally announce the nomination of James Agalga as the new majority leader. Again, what is expected is that beyond that, we'll get an official communication from the president to the speaker, which will be read to the members of the nominations of the two MPs for the two ministerial roles, and then that should be referred to the appointment committee for consideration, and possibly within the week we should have the vote. And that is the initial reaction or projection or expectation for why this emergency meeting has been summoned. But as well, the expectation would be that, if possible, the issues around the $1.7 billion gold loss surface, because the minority leader already has held a meeting with the flag bearer of the NPP to discuss that item as a major issue that they are going to push within this 5 days. And so it gives the understanding that the minority side already has something that they are going to champion this meeting. But then it also means that it is likely, if anything at all, that their motion for a full-scale parliamentary probe into that issue would be filed. Then what happens from there. So that is expected. That's far from what can be a good expectation. You should more or less think about the Human Sector Rights and Family Values Bill, which the Speaker had rescinded, reconsidered for the second time, and repassed, which is also possible that, if anything at all, that could be tried within the 5 days. But we wait to see the exact communications from the Speaker to be able to confirm some of these expectations, or it could be that there will be something else from all that we are thinking of. In July, we know the president also nominated about 3 judges for the Supreme Court. That is also another conversation that could come up. So you have 2 justices of the Court of Appeals, and you have the former law school directors for the court as well. So all of those are issues that you can aggregate and then put into the projections as some of the things that could come up potentially.
Right. Christian, thank you for this update, and certainly when the House does commence, or the business of the House does commence, we'll be interacting with you again. Thank you for your time. And you heard Christian Yali, our parliamentary correspondent, updating us on what has gone on in the House over the last almost 5 hours since the members of the House started trooping in. Based on the letter from the Speaker, they were supposed to get to the House, or business was supposed to commence around 12 midday, but it's a few minutes after 5 p.m. and we are told that it is now that members are being asked to take their seats for business of the House to commence. We'll update you on whatever comes up. But let's engage Dr. Rashid Draman, who is the Executive Director for the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. Doc, a very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us on 3FM.
Good evening.
we have been following conversations about what is likely to happen when the recall of the members of parliament does commence.
Your line is faint a bit, eh?
Right. Is it better now?
I don't know whether it's my line, but we can continue.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you all right, but it's just faint.
It's faint. Okay. So let me speak and see if maybe you can hear, and then we can have the conversation. I was asking that what would your initial thoughts be about the recall of Parliament? There are some who are arguing that if it is just for the vetting of the new nominees and then the appointment to the Supreme Court, that could be done when the House, actually comes back from their current vacation. Why is there a need for a recall under a certificate of urgency? How do you assess this argument?
Well, I don't know whether it is simply for the vetting of the nominees or there is some other urgent business. But whatever it is, I think what we haven't been able to define over the years is what constitutes agency. Because, you flip the coin. During the 8th Parliament, we've heard many times NDC MPs say, why the rush? Why are they recalling them? This could wait. Today, I've heard the same argument from the MPP. I think maybe it's about time we got to a point where I don't know whether we can get some definition what constitutes agency, so that we'll all be guided, and then when those matters occur, when Parliament is on recess, then a recall will not be questioned. But having said that, until we get to that point, I think it's the prerogative of the Speaker under the standing orders and the powers that he or she has, to recall Parliament. So, if that is what the law says, until we get a definition and somebody can challenge the recall and say this doesn't fall within that definition, until we get to that point, I think it's at the discretion of the Right Honourable Speaker.
Right. So, like you indicated, we probably all have to wait and see what will be said a few minutes from now that the members are taking their seats. But one issue that already some members of Parliament have been reacting to has to do with the aftermath of the GoldBod issues, where now the biggest twist in the tale of events is the accusation of the minority leader of extortion, amongst others. My question is, if a senior figure in Parliament, and this time around the minority leader, has come under such scrutiny, how would you advise the House deal with such an accusation? Or this is very personal and has nothing to do with the person's involvement in Parliament?
No, I think the Parliament has to take this matter very seriously, because the office is not Honourable Afenyo-Markin. I think there will be future occupants of that office. And in a democratic architecture like ours, especially now with a supermajority, there is no one office that's important in terms of holding the government to account than that office. So if an allegation is made against that office, it's an allegation against the whole institution of Parliament. Because the person who is supposed to be leading the charge to hold government to account, to get officials with a mandate to come and explain how they execute their mandate, if that person or that office is accused, Parliament should take this very seriously. And make sure that we have a leader who has very high moral standing and moral authority to question government. If the allegations are false, then at least his name is cleared and we can be trustful of his leadership and his role. And in that case, at least the person who is making the allegation must be made to answer questions. So for me, I think it's a matter that Parliament has to take seriously. I understand there's a petition before the Right Honourable Speaker, which petition I hope will be taken seriously. And I don't know what kind of committee that will be set up. Some are calling for an ad hoc committee and so on. Maybe I will even go beyond that and say, let's put a committee together that is made up of MPs and non-MPs, maybe a few eminent Ghanaians, to go into this. Because over the years, we've had allegations every now and then during appointments and so on. Perhaps this is the moment to make sure that these things are cleared once and for all, and so that at least, when people are going to open their mouths and make these allegations in the future, they will think twice.
The concern, Doc, is that, we have over the years, like you alluded to, heard of allegations against either members of Parliament or the leadership of Parliament, but little to no action is heard after these allegations. It sort of goes with the wind. Should we have any confidence at all that things might change in this regard, where such a serious allegation is dealt with, not necessarily with speed, but at least to give clarity to whether or not there is any substance in the allegations?
Yeah. So indeed, that's why I was saying I will go beyond an ad hoc committee of Parliament and say maybe let's have parliamentarians and maybe a few eminent Ghanaians, because the concern, again, like you said, is that over the years, people think that parliamentarians will shield one another when push comes to shove. But if we have a few eminent Ghanaians to be part of any investigation, our standing orders, normally don't allow this. But Parliament is a master of its own rules. And I have seen in some countries where parliamentary committees like the PAC are even made up of people who are not members of Parliament because of how serious they take public money and how it is handled. I don't think anything stops us if Parliament is minded to amend its own rules so that others can join members of Parliament to go to the bottom of this, so that at least whatever report that comes out, Ghanaians would have confidence in that report.
Two final
questions.
Because
you see, what we are dealing with also is the fact that, right now, Parliament is split. You talk to NDC MPs, they support the GoldBod CEO. You talk to MPP MPs, they support the leader. Now, if you bring a committee together that is made up of these two sides alone, I think you are going to continue to have the same argument.
And on the back of that, we know that at least as of this particular time we are speaking, 2 petitions have been presented to the Special Prosecutor against the Minority Leader to investigate. We also appreciate the kind of immunity that members of Parliament enjoy. What do you make of these petitions, and could the OSP have the capacity to investigate these issues?
I think for me, once there's a petition before Parliament, and this is something that has occurred in the process of the minority executing its mandate as a group in Parliament that has the support of the standing orders and the Constitution, I think we should let Parliament deal with this.
Oh, so you would advise, or it's your position that instead of maybe the OSP taking over the issue, Parliament themselves should take full charge of it, but not leave it to just members of the House. They can bring in, like you suggested, some eminent Ghanaians to help with the investigation.
Indeed, that will be my suggestion. Because, you see, we don't also want to undermine the institution of Parliament, because already there's a petition before the Right Honourable Speaker. So what becomes of that petition until maybe there is evidence that Parliament demonstrates inability to investigate this matter, then perhaps we would say the special prosecutor might come in.
Right. My final question would be that we also observe a change at the front bench of the majority side. What are your thoughts on how Mahama Ayariga, the honorable member, did, and with the new member of the new leader of the majority side also expected to be taking charge from today? What are your expectations of him going forward, looking at the kind of minority we've had in the last few months?
Well, I think Honorable Mahama Ayariga was settling into his position, and then we're all surprised to see that he's removed. We have Honorable Agalga coming in. The one thing that I hope, will be at the front of his charge is the issue of absenteeism and the lack of quorum, which most of the time I think results from those behind him not being in the House, particularly given their numbers. Somebody made a joke recently and said that even if they decide to do a 24-hour economy, is it 333 or something like that, they can still have a quorum in the House at all times to do government business. So I think for me, this is one of the important things that I hope will be, a priority for the new leader. The second issue is this, the LGBTQ bill has been hanging. We know what happened in the 8th Parliament, and then we came to the 9th Parliament with a lot of surprises. We need to bring this matter to a closure. The former leader disagreed with the Speaker, and perhaps this was what led to things right now being in suspense one way or the other. Let this new leader bring this matter to some closure.
All right. Doc, pleasure talking to you as always. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And that is Dr. Rashid Draman, Executive Director, Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs, sharing a thought on the recall of Parliament and the issues that are hanging on the head of the House, and especially the minority leader, and the accusations that have been leveled against him of being an extortionist, which has been captured in a petition, one sent to the Speaker of the House, we are told, and then also, as we speak, at least 2 such petitions have been sent to the Office of the Special Prosecutor to also investigate, which he has acknowledged receipt and says all matters relating to these allegations will be investigated in due time. And trust your trusted news source here at 3FM would update you when we do get any further particulars regarding this. And Christian Yali a few minutes ago also updated us on the fact that the members of the House are now being asked to take their seats as proceedings are expected to start in a jiffy. And picking off the last subject of the Special Prosecutor and the accusations, well, the latest we have is that the OSP says it has received at least 3 petitions concerning these allegations of extortion and related conduct made by the Chief Executive Officer of the GoldBod, Sammy Gyamfi, against the Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin. The OSP said that one of the petitions was jointly submitted by 2 individuals, while 2 others were filed separately by different petitioners, all relating to the allegations. Let's listen to Sammy Gyamfi, who is the CEO of the GoldBod, when he made the extortion allegations the first time during the Government Accountability Series, when he was responding to some accusations of losses raised by the minority in the House.
Afenyo-Markin's continuing antics must therefore be seen for what they are: a desperate smear campaign by persons who have specialized in sophistry and political blackmail in pursuit of selfish ends. These are devious extortionists who will come at you with lies to tarnish your reputation in the hope that you will fold and settle for what they call, quote, compulsory arbitration and oil their palms. Well, this time around, they found their own target. The Ghanaian people deserve serious public discourse founded on facts, evidence, truth, and not endless recycling of falsehoods in the hope that repetition will lend credibility.
And that is Samuel Gyamfi. Many of you know him as Sammy Gyamfi, the CEO of the GoldBod, when he made the allegations, which moments after he submitted or gave responses to the losses that were captured in the IMF report about GoldBod and whether or not the losses are on the books of the GoldBod or the Bank of Ghana. He also made these extortion allegations against the minority leader. Now, there was a response from the minority side, but it failed to address the extortion concerns that were raised. And on the back of that, a number of Ghanaians have taken the subject up and petitioned, like I indicated, the Speaker and now the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Now, in a statement on the 24th of August, the Anti-Corruption Agency said it had taken note of the public allegations and would assess the matter to determine whether it falls within a statutory mandate. Let's bring in now Wisdom Safo. He's with our data and research team here at Media General, and he's going to walk us through what's captured in the letter from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Wisdom, what do we know?
So, yeah, Martin, on the heading of the letter is allegation of extortion against the Minority Leader of Parliament, and this is from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. That's a public notice that is being given. So I read the statement. It says that the Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP, has taken note of the public allegations of extortion and related conduct made by the Chief Executive of Ghana GoldBod, Sammy Gyamfi, against the Minority Leader of Parliament, Alexander Afenyo-Markin. The OSP also acknowledges a joint petition submitted by 2 persons as well as 2 separate petitions submitted by other persons in relation to the allegations. Given the nature of the allegations, the OSP will assess the case and determine whether it falls within its statutory mandate and whether further investigation or investigative actions is warranted. And take note, this petition was made by UP, Solomon Owusu, the Director of Communication for the UP, and Andrew Downka, who is head of legal as well. And he's also saying that from the statement, there are other 2 separate petitions. And on the issue of statutory mandate, you realize that the petition were addressed to other agencies, including SHRAJ and the Attorney General. So that's why the OSP is making this public notice, Martin.
So that's what is captured in the letter from the Office of the Special Prosecutor, acknowledging receipt of these petitions. All right. Wisdom, thank you very much for that statement, which has been released by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And it clearly tells you the kind of momentum that this allegation is gathering. And we would also keep very close tabs on it and update you subsequently when we do get further and better particulars about whether or not the minority leader and the accusations that have been leveled against him do carry weight and any major action will be taken. And like you heard our earlier resource person, he also indicated that the petitioners have sent a similar one to the Speaker of the House. And so now that Parliament has reconvened, albeit under a certificate of urgency, we would see whether or not this issue would come up regarding whether or not the issue would come for public conversation, especially in the House of Parliament. You're listening to 3FM 92.7. This is Hot Edition. We are bringing you the hottest stories making rounds in Ghana. Now, Jerry Ahmed Shaib, who is a member of the minority NPP, has also been reacting to the recent accusations made by Sammy Gyamfi, the CEO of GoldBod. Now, he says that instead of the CEO of GoldBod addressing the key issues they raised, which is the losses of some $1.7 billion, he seems to be wanting to divert attention regarding this. So let's listen to what exactly Jerry Ahmed Chaib's position is on this subject, and then would subject it to further conversations. He spoke earlier to my colleague Kamini Amana on Daily Brief on TV3.
Parliament to look into the domestic gold program is inviting.
Let me make reference to the motion for you. Just hold on a second. And then, because this is what the motion says. Notice of motion under 127. And then let me just go ahead and present it. It is that this Honorable House, pursuant to Article 103 of the 1992 Constitution, and Standing Orders 204, 212, 213, 262, and 26.
Well, Honorable, are you still there?
Let me make the point, please. Let me make the point. If you call me, listen to me. If you are not ready to say
I thought we lost you, Honorable.
Yes, so listen to me, please. You said you wanted to find out, so I'm giving you the details of it. And it goes on to say that to investigate the circumstances under which $1.7 million loss was incurred in gold trade transactions between GoldBod and the Bank of Ghana for 2025, and the circumstances under which the Bank of Ghana declared a loss of 9 billion cedis for the year 2025. That is the beginning of that's the commencement of the motion. That is what has been captured. So how can anybody tell you that that is not an issue for discussion or inquiry?
He didn't say it's an issue for discussion. He says that you didn't.
That has not been captured.
Yes, you didn't mention GoldBod at all.
But I've just read to you. And does it not include GoldBod? Did you not just hear GoldBod? That it is the activities or the transactions that GoldBod or the positions of GoldBod that has to be investigated. That has led to the loss of 1.7 billion, an equivalent of 22 billion Ghana cedis. So how can anybody say otherwise? That is clear. And I can share a copy of the motion with you for you to peruse and review and whatever you want to do with it, Mr. Tree. But GoldBod and Bank of Ghana, their activities have cost us 22 billion loss. And we are saying that we want to have another committee set up for an inquiry into the activities. That's all.
Why an ad hoc committee and not any of the committees you already have? The Finance Committee, the Economic Committee. Why an ad hoc committee?
An ad hoc committee can bring in very independent people. It must not be just especially members of Parliament. It can bring in someone, for instance, an Auditor General to be a part of the process. It can be someone who is into gold business, who has a lot of capacity and knowledge on activities of gold. It can bring somebody who is dealing with forest. These are the issues. So an ad hoc committee does not necessarily mean that, or we don't need a committee directly from Parliament, whether the standing committee or whatever committee or the select committee, which is already a part of Parliament. We are looking at bringing all the independent-minded people also on board to, as it were, get the details of the activities and operations of the GoldBod and Bank of Ghana in whatever transactions they do, and in reference to gold business.
Very well. Honorable, is it minority expectation that the motion will see light today?
Well, we are just going to the chamber. If there is an opportunity and the same has been captured, we would have to say moved. But obviously, first of all, it has to be admitted by the Right Honorable Speaker. And if the Right Honorable Speaker admits it, then we are good to go. And then we can say today that, okay, we can take this motion or we cannot. And that is within his remit, really. It is not within the remit of members of Parliament. That is the power the Speaker has.
Speaking of the Speaker, we know that a petition has gone to the Speaker to look into allegations of extortion made against your leader. How concerning is this to members of the caucus?
You are dealing with a chronic liar, a pathological liar. Somebody came to me this morning and said, look, this guy is a lying machine. This is what he has been doing over the years. Was he not the same person who said $40 million has been paid for Akufo-Addo? And Akufo-Addo has been bathing on private jets. And Baumia is the owner of Haftel and he is receiving all money from ECG apps. It's not the same person.
Who are you referring to as a pathological liar?
Make my point. When you ask me questions, especially allow me to
I want to know who you are referring to as a pathological liar.
I'm referring to the one who is making comments of extortion.
All right.
I'm referring to Sammy Gyamfi. I'm referring to the CEO of GoldBod. Is it not the same person? He's a chronic liar. He's a pathological liar. He's someone who has been consistent with lies. So if me, Sammy Gyamfi calls me by any name, I'll take it as very trivial. I won't even pay attention to it. But let us deal with the issues. Was he not the same person who was on boats, crossing river bodies and having press conferences all over the place? Is he not now the number one beneficiary of Galamsey? So if he is saying reason to say that somebody is an extortionist, I will not even think about it. But let us deal with the issue. You call someone an extortionist, you are a legal practitioner. Then he hasn't affected his mind to the laws of this nation. And he doesn't understand his civic responsibilities. Because if you are calling someone an extortionist and you are a public officer, the law is simple. It is a second-degree felony. It comes under Section 151 of the Criminal Offences Act. And I think 247. What you need to do is to go to the machinery that you wield. That is what government wills. Government wills authority and the machinery to investigate matters of such nature. That you can say that, oh, one has extorted, prove beyond every reasonable doubt, make your case, have the person picked up, deal the issues. But you are not, because now you have been told that there are 22, you have whatever, you made losses of 22 billion CDs. That is when now you find it very reasonable to raise issues of extortion.
Honorable.
If you knew that, please.
So you had the interaction between Kemini Amano, my colleague, and then also Jerry Ahmed Shaib, who is the deputy minority whip in Parliament, in that interaction about the petition that has been filed and presented to the Speaker of the House. But let's interrogate this subject a bit in detail. Adam Senanu is an anti-graft campaigner, has joined us for a quick chat on this. Mr. Senanu, good evening. Thank you for your time.
Good evening.
What would you make of the new twist to this conversation about GoldBod and its related losses, where an allegation made by the CEO has gathered some momentum? A petition has gone to the Speaker. The Office of the Special Prosecutor has received, as we speak, 3 petitions to investigate these allegations.
Well, I mean, extortion is not an issue to be dealt with lightly. At least, certainly not for those of us in the good governance and anti-corruption space. And so, for me, Mr. Gyamfi owes a duty to all of us to provide those further and better particulars. And I'm happy to note that the Office of the Special Prosecutor says they will cross-check whether it's under their mandate, which I guess they'll be checking LI 2374. That shouldn't take them more than a day, so I'm sure by Wednesday they'll confirm or otherwise. These are matters, because of the nature of the personalities involved, they cannot be swept under the carpet. The context and the reasons why the CEO of GoldBod who makes such an allegation will have to be examined closely so that we can draw necessary conclusions. And so those are my initial thoughts.
And your thinking wouldn't be that it is to divert the kind of attention that the conversation of the GoldBod losses or the Bank of Ghana losses, depending on where you stand on that argument, these accusations of extortion is not aimed at diverting attention from the losses?
I find that spin or twist very strange. Because, you see, the important thing is to go and examine the documents. The minority strongly positioned their press conference and their statement on the IMF report. Now, I've taken a close look at the 182-page document. Nowhere does it talk about GoldBod making any losses. Nowhere. What it does say is that the Bank of Ghana made losses, and it makes sense because if you examine the architecture, the GoldBod was an agent to the Bank of Ghana in that gold, whatever they have, mechanism they have. So that's for 2025. So it was only in 2026, I think, April, that they were now registered to have full responsibility for this. So it appears the Bank of Ghana rather owes the GoldBod. So if Bank of Ghana has made losses, we should be focusing on that and asking questions about that. So it cannot be a diversion from the matter of GoldBod when indeed the minority got it wrong, as far as I can see. And the report is available for anybody to check. And the issue has not been Bank of Ghana losses. So I find this twist really an unnecessary one. I don't see how it speaks to the issues that have been in the public domain.
Right. And maybe in concluding our conversation, how do we situate this accusation of extortion, and which institution is best placed to investigate? Parliament, we are told the Speaker has a copy of a petition. The OSP, like you said, says it is going to look at the entire accusation and then look at whether there are merits and it falls within their remit. But as an anti-graft, campaigner, where do we situate? Who investigate? A senior state official like the minority leader?
Well, I'm fond of saying that. Multiple groups investigating is a good thing. Even in the U.S., you find that you have different departments, FBI, DOJ, all investigating matters. So if Parliament wants to investigate, that's fine. OSP, if it will fall under its mandate, they are likely to give us different angles of the same issue. So I would say that let's have different groups looking at it so that we get a much more comprehensive understanding of what has transpired.
Thank you so much for making time to speak with us this evening.
Thank you.
You heard Edem Senan, who is an anti-graft campaigner and also sharing a thought on the issue of the accusations of extortion leveled against the minority leader and by extension the whole brouhaha surrounding the losses that was captured in the IMF report that has to do with both the GoldBod and the Bank of Ghana. But the petitions that were sent to the OSP and the Speaker has dominated public conversation now. One of the petitioners, Solomon Owusu, has joined us for a quick chat. Mr. Owusu, good evening. Thank you for joining us on 3FM. Hello, Mr. Owusu, can you hear me? Hello, sir. We seem to be having a slight challenge with the connection to Solomon Owusu. But Mr. Owusu, if you can hear me, my first question to you would be what you make of the OSP's response to your petition that they are going to consider all the other concerns that have been raised about the extortion and would subsequently address the issue. Well, we do not seem to have that connection to... Mr. Owusu, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good evening.
Great. Thank you for your time. So this is 3FM, and my first question to you is what you make of the response from the Office of the Special Prosecutor that your petition has been received and that they are looking fervently at it.
Thank you very much. So like I said on your sister network, we have received the news with cautious optimism. cautious optimism because you remember last year we filed a similar petition involving myself, Apia Dankwa, and Ebo Batman, calling on the Office of the Special Prosecutor to investigate the Vice President on a statement that he made that he single-handedly contributed 300 vehicles to the MPP's campaign. And as we speak, we are yet to hear any concrete steps or information regarding the investigations. But there is always another time. This time around, they are saying that they are taking a critical look at the petition. We hope they right the wrongs of yesterday. That is what I would say for now.
Right. And what were your expectations when you were submitting the report or the petition that the OSP would do what exactly?
You mean this petition or the one that we submitted last year?
This petition.
So this petition is very simple. Public officials are supposed to hold their various portfolios in trust for the people. To that extent, they are supposed to serve the people only. So if we are told by another public official that his colleague public official has been using extortion, has been using the threats, force, and other means to, as it were, take money, property, or other favors from him to only benefit he as individual, then it goes against any principle of holding a public office, and is the reason why we believe that such a matter must not be allowed to go unnoticed. So we want the Special Prosecutor's Office, the Attorney General, the police to all come together and investigate this crime so that we bring closure to it.
My final question to you would be that the Speaker of Parliament and the House of Parliament, where we know that the Minority Leader actually works from, has also received a similar petition. Are you expecting anything from Parliament as a result of this petition that the Speaker has also received, or you are confident that the OSP can handle the matter as is?
I expect Parliament to act. Remember that the institution called Parliament has been brought to disrepute. Earlier part of this year, as in May of 2026, an MP was busted in the Amsterdam for, as it were, allegation of engaging in bromance or romance. I mean, you remember that. And as we speak, we have not been able to bring a closure to that matter. That has hurt the integrity of Parliament. So if today we are being told by no mean a person that the CEO of GoldBod that the Minority Leader is also engaged in an act of criminality, which is extortion, then it must interest Parliament, because it's the name of Parliament and its members that is being brought to the mat. So we expect them to act to save the institution called Parliament.
All right. Mr. Owusu, we are grateful for your time on this and we wish you well. Hopefully we'll be engaging you in the coming days.
Thank you very much.
Right, and Solomon Owusu is one of the petitioners who have asked the OSP to look into allegations against the Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin, and also we are told the Speaker of the House has taken his seat for proceedings in the House to commence. We are likely to get further updates on this particular issue when our parliamentary correspondent does update us subsequently. But we know that the Speaker has entered the chamber, and the conversations about this particular issue will dominate, the chatter in the House of Parliament. This is Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, and just before we go into the world of business, we also know that the New Patriotic Party is gearing up for its national elections, and the General Secretary of the party, Justin Kodua Frimpong, has filed his nomination to contest the party's upcoming national executive elections. He is calling on party members to rally behind him and his candidature as he seeks to help reposition the party for victory in 2028. Let's listen to this report while we wait for business.
Justin Frimpong Kodua was flanked by party loyalists as he presented his nomination forms at MPP's national headquarters. He was joined by former regional executives and former party secretaries who expressed their support for his bid and pledged to vote to retain him as General Secretary.
Secretaries in the country, we are behind him. We are rallying behind the General Secretary. We are calling on everybody who is a delegate. Think about this. Think of the party. It's not a new party. It's a moving party. And Justin Kodia from PON is our engine to 2028's victory.
The MPP has scheduled October 3 for the election of its national executives. Speaking after filing his nomination, Justin Kodia recounted his role in the decision to hold the party's presidential primaries earlier than was previously customary.
We have just 2 years to the general elections. We have had the General Secretary who has been part and parcel of the party's reorganization. Certainly, it will not make any sense to change the General Secretary.
So you heard Justin Frimpong Kodia, JFK, as he is known within the circles of the NPP. He's submitted his nomination to contest again as General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, which is currently in opposition. We would update you subsequently on how those internal elections go. This is your Election Command Center. This has been a hot edition on 3FM. Time now for the latest in the world of business.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. Also coming up, Ghana Stock Exchange fixed income trading volumes surges to 255 billion securities by July 2026, surpassing full year 2025 total. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. Ghana's fixed income market has recorded a sharp rebound in trading activity, with the volume of securities traded rising from 174 billion in 2024 to 255 billion as of the end of July 2026. The latest figure has already surpassed the 2025 total, underscoring a significant recovery in investor activity and market liquidity. The managing director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Afenyo-Markin, disclosed this at a listing ceremony of Petrosol Platinum Energy PLC's notes in Accra.
Following our DDEP program, the activity trading volumes on the market declined significantly from a peak of 230 billion volume of securities traded in 2022 to 98 billion in 2023. Since then, the market has staged a remarkable recovery. Trading volumes increased to 174 billion in 2024, hit 245 billion in 2025, and I'm very pleased to share that as at the end of July 2026, we had surpassed all the volume we had traded in 2025, and we are 255 billion volume of securities traded on the fixed income market.
And that was the managing director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Afenyo-Markin. Before we go, continuous oversubscription of Ghana's treasury bills is expected to persist through the end of 2026 as investor confidence in government securities gradually strengthens. Finance and tax expert Nelson Kujo-Kwagbaji says the strong demand reflects growing confidence in government's commitment to honoring its debt obligations.
This is not surprising at all. This clearly shows that investor confidence is gradually bouncing back to the market as a result of government commitment towards honoring its debt obligation. The oversubscription also will help deepen market liquidity because we expect a lot more people to express interest and confidence in government securities. And we also expect this trend to continue even to the end of the year 2026.
And that was finance and tax expert Nelson Kujo-Kwagbaji entering the business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more business stories, please check out our website 3news.com. Reku Ampofo is here for sports. Please stay.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on TFM 92.7. My name is Oreku Ampofo. Ghanaian midfielder Kwesi Sibo is on the verge of making a career switch after reportedly signing a 3-year deal with Libyan side Al Swali. The 28-year-old has attracted interest from several European clubs following his impressive performances in Spain and the Black Stars. However, none of those could come to fruition and is now expected to sign for the Libyan side in a deal worth $10 million as a free agent. Moving on to some more transfer stories, and Kumasi Asante Kotoko goalkeeper Danlad Ibrahim has expressed his determination to make a strong return to the club and build on the experience he gained during his time away. The 23-year-old goalkeeper has returned to the Porcupine Warriors ahead of the new season, signing a 2-year deal after leaving the club in June 2024 following an 8-year stint. Speaking in an interview with the club's media, he expressed his delight at returning to the club where he began his professional journey.
Because always when you are at Asante Kotoko, you are at home, so I'm feeling so great. Yes, because I came here as a young boy, and even when I was leaving, I was still young, so I was having that kind of dream that definitely I'm going to be back and then I'll continue the good works for this club. Maturity, because I went outside the country, and the kind of experiences that I just got over there, and then even within Asante Kotoko, when I was here, I had my challenges and let's say the good moments as well. So a blend of all these two, definitely there's going to be a big or a lot of changes personally and also in terms of playing. So there will be big changes, or let's say slight changes in me. So it shouldn't be a surprise to a lot of people, because we are growing and then we are getting matured in the game and also in terms of personality. Being a champion is easy, but how to maintain it. So now how to maintain my performance and everything, it's up to me. It's all about hard work. Since I'm here, I'm ready for every challenge.
That was Danlad Ibrahim, who has rejoined Asante Kotoko. Now, before we go, Ampim Darkwa ladies celebrated in good fashion as they beat Asek Mimosas ladies 1-0 and their opener for the Wafu B CAF Women's Champions League qualifiers. And so we're bringing you updates of that and more on our social media handles. And later, Premier League action. Xabi Alonso will be in charge of his first Premier League game for Chelsea when they face Fulham at the Craven Cottage.
And on the back of the sporting stories, we bring the bulletin to an end. Thank you very much for listening. If you go to our website, 3news.com, you get an update of all the stories we brought to you and many, many more. My name is Martin Asiedu Date. Have a very good evening.